Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. And I am in a field in Dorset, and I've got to drive my Model Y long range all-wheel drive all the way back home to northern Scotland, which is about 600 miles, so it's going to take me about 12 hours. But first I have got a range test which is a bit of a doozy. Keep watching. Putting it simply, this car has got phenomenal efficiency compared to the previous Model Y all-wheel drive that I had. This thing just chews it up and laughs. I am getting absolutely crazy efficiency numbers. I've done literally 206, 208, something like that, since I last charged the thing up, and that was a couple of days ago. It's ridiculous how little energy this car uses. Well, right here, right now, I've got about a third of the battery, and I need to do 120 or so miles. We've been down here at TANKFEST in Dorset for the last couple of days, and I know I drive an EV, but it has been a whole load of fun watching very, very, very loud and vibrating engines going past on even heavier and vibrating pieces of tank. It's been a really, really good trip, but the car was phenomenal on the way down. We're now going to drive home. Again, strap in. Can you do 12 hours in a Tesla and come out with a smile on your face? One way to find out. Just over 20 miles into the voyage home, and we keep weaving our way through pretty little villages like this one. Thatched roofs. I mean, come on, that looks cool. High maintenance, a little bit like driving a petrol or diesel car compared to the maintenance free of an electric. Yeah, really having to take it easy over there. Car's still ridiculously efficient, 206 watt hours per mile. It's saying I'm going to arrive at Michaelwood on 8%, but it has dropped a couple of percent. I honestly don't think it knows, because to be brutally honest, this road is a lot more stop-start than I thought. I'm not actually stopping and starting, but speed up, slow down, climbing hills, dropping hills. It's probably quite energy intensive, despite the number of miles that you're actually doing. So that's probably part of the reason why it's being a little bit on the pessimistic side, because I've got 26% in the battery and I only need to do 64 miles. So I mean, that's only a range of what, about 270 or something. It'll do more than that, so it should be absolutely fine. I think this car is cheating. We are coming up on 50 miles since we left TANKFEST, and it's on 196 watt hours per mile. And okay, yes, so we're meandering along at the moment at 45 miles an hour, but we've been doing 60. I was doing 70 on a bit of dual carriageway back there. I've been going at the speed that traffic and road conditions allow, but it's it's almost silly how little energy that we're burning. And all right, it's 24 degrees, so it's quite warm, and it's actually quite humid, which makes the air a little bit fatter to slice through, so you got a bit more air resistance, which you would think would be sapping the amount of energy that I'm using, but it's not. 195 watt hours per mile on 50 miles. It's just bonkers. 209 on the 159 miles since I charged up. You can't make this up. It's just phenomenal. So what it means is that, never mind it might be a bit tight getting there. No, it won't, because we're going to get there on 8%, and that's going on the corner leg around the motorway. If I went direct across, I'd probably arrive on like 12. Where on earth has sat-nav taken us? Hit bad roadworks, Bath looks snarled up, something. It says this is the fastest route. Are you kidding me? This is not my idea of the fastest route. I'm just hoping nothing's coming the other way at all. And this isn't this is literally having to crawl down here, because it's not just tight, It's that the hedges keep encroaching onto the road. Happily, I can see the end of it now. We might just about get away with it, but good grief. Don't just follow your sat-nav, boys and girls. It's not always a good idea. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, okay. And then we're going up here. What? Oh Lord, it's a right old squeeze. What on earth? I did promise you entertainment. I'm doing it as usual so that you don't have to. Oh my. What? Please, nothing coming the other way. 0.2 of a mile. Wow. It's the fact that you've now got basically stuff growing and dumped in the middle as well. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's almost a passing place. Almost. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. 400 feet.
Nothing.
Let's stick that front camera view. I mean,
nothing.
Terrifying. The sign says it's not for anything above 7.5 tons. Are you kidding? I mean, it shouldn't really be unsuitable for wide vehicles. Yeah, you're not kidding. Oh wow, okay, what on earth was that? Right. Onwards. Oh please, don't do things like that to me. Well, that's been a longish run. We left at what, 1:45, and it's 2:50, so yeah. And that's got us onto the motorway network. So we are going to do the motorway corners rather than straight across. I've got power. It says I'm going to arrive on 6%, and that's with banging down the motorway. So I might as well, because with respect to it, we've still got a long way to go, and we just want to get home, really. But again, 207 watt-hours per mile on the 72 miles of the trip today, and then 180 miles in total, and 212 since we last went to the supercharger. It's very silly. I am now charging here at Michaelwood, where there are 20 supercharger stalls. So it's telling me that it's 3:15, and it's telling me I'm going to get home at 20 past midnight. So still a way to go. Happily, I've now got enhanced autopilot, as you're going to be seeing on more of the clips in this video, and then there's a whole video on why I've done EAP, which will follow after this one. So keep an eye out for that one, and if you want to see that one, like and subscribe so that you know when it drops. This video is brought to you by Millibricks, which is my online store for Lego compatible tanks, planes and jeeps and other military vehicles, like the kind you saw running around in real life earlier at TANKFEST. If you want your own tanks, then check out millibricks.co.uk and use the code GET for 10% off. Right, with Hilton Park added, it's now telling me on 36%. It said we had enough. So let's get on with it. Get it unhooked. I really do struggle with doing those wrong-handed, but yeah, let's get gone and get out of here. Ooh. Unlike on the way down, we're going to do a few shorter stops. Heading actually up past Frankley Services, but there isn't a supercharger on the northbound side, only on the southbound side, but I've got 20% in the battery, so that's absolutely fine. We're still heading to Hilton Park. There's a bit of slow traffic as the M5 and M6 merge, but that's utterly inevitable. The bit that's scaring me a little is, once again, we appear to have stupidity happening on the motorway ahead of us, and the suggestion is that the M6 once again in Staffordshire once again is the apocalypse, where there is no alternative routes because the alternative routes are also slow with their own accidents slash screw ups slash whatever else it is. So my I'll get home for about 20 past midnight is now turned into 2 a.m. Yeah. we need things to improve, because I think I'm going to want to start shooting at things if I've got to sit in another hour's worth of pointless traffic, which is a pity, because once again I'm sat here in my Tesla Model Y, which is very comfortable, is very efficient, 222 watt hours per mile since we stopped to charge, and 209 on the trip so far today, despite the fact that we're on the motorway. It's bonkers. Admittedly, it's 26 degrees, but you can see it's overcast. It's not like it's sunny, so that means it's humid, and humid means moist air, which means air resistance that you've got to chop through. So it's not even optimal that way. Again, enhanced autopilot is running. We're on Navigate on autopilot. Watch the video to follow this to see how I'm getting on, having decided to invest in EAP for your entertainment so that you don't have to. It's largely very good. And if you see the video where I was complaining bitterly about standard autopilot on this car, it has fixed all of those issues. It's just silly that you have to pay to do so. Anyway, I'll show you how to. Why has it gone to 30 max? What is that? What did it just see to go to 30 max? I didn't see a 30 sign unless it was a road racing. I'll have to play that back and try and work out what it was looking at. But that was unexpected. But that's not an EAP thing. That's just it's seeing things that aren't there with regards to speed limit signs. And this has always been an issue with autopilot. It's either not reacting to come on, no, come on. Sometimes it needs a bit of encouraging. Like there was a guy who needed to let me out, and once he let me out, then there was bags of space. But yeah. So although I'm technically not driving, I'm still having to think, and I'm still having to intervene to get it to drive by itself a little bit. And now this guy is speeding up, so I'm going to drop back in behind him because he wasn't going that fast, but now he is. I wish people would do a steady speed. It would make life a lot easier, but never mind. Onwards, and hopefully I really don't want to go home at 2 a.m. That's just going to be painful. Coming up on Hilton Park services and the supercharger, I'm just looking at the map. It's saying there are 7 stalls available on arrival out of 12, so that gives me only a single shot at getting a non-paired stall. Let's see if it takes me off. Yep. So, Navigate on autopilot does its thing, but then it doesn't know what it's doing with lanes, so I've knocked it off. That's absolutely fine. I honestly don't know where the supercharger is, this one, so let's have a look. But this is where, for people who are relatively new to this, superchargers, in the UK at least, there's 3 different generations, V2, V3 and V4. The V2 and V3 look the same, but in this case I know that they are V2 because of... Go on, I'm going in there, mate. I know that they're V2 because of the way that they're being described. Hang on, I've got to... Oh, this is not a particularly happy... Oh, that's not a happy turn, is it? And they're up there. So what you want here is, because these ones are V2, they are paired. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Where do I want to go? There's 2 on the end. So my unpaired pair are basically these ones. So I'm going to go on 6B, which is the last one. Dear me. And then that means that we will get the full force of the 130 or something kilowatts. These are old, but that's okay. It says stop. I actually have to go back and practically kiss them for the thing to reach. I've just plugged in and it's ramped up, and I think that's the most that we're going to get, because this is a 130 kilowatt max station. Yeah. Oh, hello. Charge rate limited by charging station. Well, I don't think that it is, because haven't I got this one right, that this is okay, 150 kilowatt max, and we're getting 116. So it's not great, but let me show you what I mean by a paired stall, just in case you are new. It's gone back to 123. If you're new, and welcome. So what do I mean by a paired stall? This is a V2 site, okay? And you know that it's V2 because on the tombstones, there are actually two connectors. This is the older, well, they called it the Tesla connector, but if you're from North America, you'll look at that and go, huh? It's a modified Type 2 connector that Tesla used. And then you've got CCS, which is, again, from my American friends, CCS is basically Type 2 plus the DC fast charge that goes onto there as well. So if you've got two cables, these are V2, and V2 basically means that it splits the power across the two of them. So if you get a site like this one, what you basically want to do is try and not plug in where you've got a pair on the stalls, because all you're going to do there is split the charge, so that instead of me getting 100 and what was I getting, 123, all I've been getting then will be 61, because I'd be split across that one. So that's what you're trying to do when you get to a site like this. The V3 ones look identical to one of these, but only have one cable on them. So that's how you can tell a V3 from a V2. And the V3 ones, you don't actually have to care about the pairing, because all of them can output 250 kilowatts max. Although you do sometimes get a bit of restriction when you see the mega packs over in the corner, the big white boxes. They sometimes are a bit restrictive on the amount of power that they can put out across the entire site. So sometimes you get it where it can only output not quite the maximum that you were expecting when they're completely full, but usually on those you're absolutely fine. Right, we're unplugging. We're not stopping at Preston or Charnock, Richard or anywhere. What I've actually been doing is hoping, desperately hoping for the traffic horror to clear, thinking if I charge here for slightly longer it might get better, and it's not getting better. So we're skipping another stop anyway, so we can go straight through to Gretna. We are, as you can see, trundling along the M6, which is joyous, and we've gone handheld with my glamorous assistant on EAP, right, where the nag, because it'll start shouting at you about you've got to have your hand on the steering wheel. Actually, if you've got your hand anywhere around here, the camera that's up here, right here, that, don't go too close because it won't focus, but that basically can see this portion of it. So as long as I've got my hand around here, it thinks that I've got my hand on the steering wheel, even though I haven't. I'm just here. So if you do that, you can go for miles and miles and miles and miles without any nag at all. You don't have to actually be doing anything to the steering. You're not pulling at it. So before, you'd have to be pulling a little bit to stop it from doing it. And it does say apply force to the steering wheel. You don't actually have to do that. You just have to have your hand somewhere close to it. And what I like about this is I'm doing 10 miles an hour, and I'm deliberately sticking at 10 miles an hour. And I could go a little bit quicker, but all I'm going to do is stop a little bit further on. I'd rather do 10 miles an hour at a steady 10 miles an hour than do 15 and then stop, and then back up to 10 and stop, and whatever. This is fine. We're now starting to close up to the gap, despite the fact I had a big gap, because hey, it's bunching traffic. Ooh, 20:38 now. So the arrival time at Gretna has just shortened again. Good, good. So anyway, look, EAP does add value. I suppose the question is it actually worth £3,400? I'm only talking now because we're trundling along at now 8 miles an hour. Yeah, I've got literally nothing else to do except to sit here and talk to you fine people, and to say, join my Patreon community. If, like me, you are just sat without anything to do, join me on Patreon, buy me a coffee. And yes, it's a shameless plug for cash. Almost at Gretna for next charging stop. So the last time we stopped was Hopwood Park, Hilton Park. Yes, Hilton, which is just north of Birmingham, and now we are going to be stopping at Gretna. So again, this car really long-legged, although to be fair, it's still quite warm. But this is the point in the journey where I always go, yay, back in Scotland. And yes, I've done this on too many videos. Yeah, and again, I'm recording on the iPhone because GoPro has given up, which is fine. We'll fix it for the next run. But yeah, I'm hungry now. It's 8:30 nearly. And it's definitely time for a quick bit of food. So, according to the planner, we are going to be stopped for about 15 minutes here, and then another 15-minute stop at Perth. I suspect actually this one, it's going to be more like 20 minutes here and 10 at Perth, because we've actually got to go in and order food and things here, whereas Perth is literally dive in, grab another Coke, and then dive back out again. But I could sit here and try and fuel it all the way to go home, but that is slower than doing 2 stops, and I've literally got to go past the one at Perth later on, so why not? And we are looking at arriving home at just before 1:30 in the morning, so yay. That's been a big success. Last time we came in here on Friday, this place was absolutely heaving. Now it's pretty quiet. It's much better quiet. See, this is a perfect example of what I say. All right, the car is ready to go, and not everybody had finished eating, but because I'm evil and because that's in a box, we're going now, because with respect to it, I've still got a drink. I want to get home, and it's still going to be about, well, what do I always say, 4.5 hours from the border. This basically is the border at Gretna, and yeah, we're going to be a little while. So, make a bit of room inside the car for things. This is what happens when you're living inside a car all day. Right, what are we on? 62. Stick it in the door, or there, or somewhere else. Right, 62 is plenty to get up to Perth, because we're going to get up to Perth on 18. So let's go. And again, Perth really will just be a zap and dash. But again, car's ready. We're not ready, but we're going anyway, because take me home, please. He's still watching. Good, because I'm still driving. I'm now here at Perth at the very, very empty Broxton supercharger, and a quick 10-minute zap and dash, and then we complete the long voyage home. It's not actually been anything like as bad on the way home as it was on the way down, which is helpful, because otherwise it's going to feel like a bit of a pain in the bum. Let's just say that I've burned a bit more power because I've been making progress, although obviously, officer, not that much progress. So let's wrap up that trip home video, and yes, I am in exactly the same place as I was at the end of the previous video, because I'm recording these clips one after another. The trip home. Traffic was still gnarly, but not anything like as bad as on the way down, so it took just over 12 hours instead of 14 and a half. That's a big improvement. What can I say though? From a drive perspective, it was even more efficient than on the way down. 239 watt hours per mile, which is 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour. And on some of the earlier legs of that, we were doing 200, 205 watt hours per mile. So you're 4.9 or even 5 miles per kilowatt hour in an all-wheel drive Tesla. It's just unheard of from an efficiency perspective. In terms of stops, I had overfueled at Amesbury on the way down, which extended that trip by about, well, it didn't need that stop at all, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough power in to be able to get about. It's a good job that I did, because charging at the hotel turned out to be impossible because all of the bays were blocked. Anyway, the amount of power that I had in, as you saw, we thought it might be a bit tight to get to Michaelwood on the motorway on the M5 north of Birmingham, and it wasn't. It was an absolute doddle, and that was literally just a zap and dash there. It was just a 9-minute stop, and then we were going to get up the road towards Hilton Park and then figure out what we do, because we knew that the traffic was not going to be pretty. I was thinking there would be a stop at Preston probably as well, and we'd just do lots of little stops. In the end, we were stopped at Hilton Park for what, 26 minutes, trying to figure out what on earth do we do with the traffic and hoping that it dissipates, which it mostly did. It got a lot better than it could have been, so that was definitely helpful. And then 20 minutes at Gretna to grab food and then go. And as you saw, I was basically dragging the body away. Come on, I want to get home. I really do want to get home. But the supercharger network, again, super easy to use, very quick. The car is planning itself in terms of where it's stopping. It makes a real difference. And that's the point that I would make. The entire trip was 1,300 miles across 3 days. That's a lot of driving. And even my son said it wasn't anything like as awful as he thought it was going to be sat in the car for 12 hours at a time. So if you want to get a car where you can cruise end to end without any issues, then just get a Tesla. Don't listen to the people who say EVs are only for going around town, and it just isn't true. You absolutely can do long distances in an EV, especially in a Tesla, and not have any issues at all. And that's a hopeful note to end it on. So share the video if you've got Neanderthal friends who don't think that you can do long trips in an EV. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm if you do that. There's still quite a lot of people watching who aren't subscribed. Click the button, guys. If you want to help me out, join my Patreon community or buy me a coffee, something like that. It would be appreciated. And I will see you back here very soon on Just Get a Tesla.